This past year has been awful. Everyone knows that, and everyone can probably name a ton of reasons as to why. The biggest obviously being the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has had a ripple effect on the world, taking 3.1 million lives and producing nearly 150 million cases within the past 18 months. It has caused lockdowns, disrupted our social lives, and genuinely caused a strain on people, whether that be mentally or physically. But this isn't about that. No, this is about an industry that means so much to so many people, despite consisting mostly of fiction. This is about cinema. Cinema has been a constant in our culture for 125 years, and it seemed like nothing would change in that regard until early last year. By January, several regions had started to go into lockdowns, and foreign language films had started to be delayed as a result. By March, several major releases had been delayed as the outbreak worsened, and by the end of the month, most of the world had gone into a national lockdown. In the time following that, things have changed dramatically. The industry's greatest fear of a shift towards streaming services has only worsened, as cinemas have been closed and major studios have dumped their films out to rent, or reluctantly sold them to streaming services to cut their losses. Major chains have been on the verge of bankruptcy, and several chains in iconic venues have straight up close for good. It's in a time like this, however, that I think this is important to attempt to spotlight what cinema is all about. It's about passion, the passion that we all hold for the art form, the passion that comes from making a connection with a film from your first to your last. I feel that it is palpable and something that everyone feels, and in a time of such hardship within the industry, it will be good to talk about.
I like being able to tune out of reality for 2 hours, and I don't know, I like getting really overly absorbed into things that aren't real.
So it's probably about 10 years ago now, I started watching a lot of classic Spielberg films, Jaws, Indiana Jones' Close Encounters, and then I started making short films about 5-6 years ago.
Well, my first time taking notice of film, like the craft behind it, was when I was young, watching animated films, stop motion like Aardman, like Wallace and Gromit, Creature Comforts. That's when I started to take notice of how it's made, like the effort that goes into it. And from there, like I've always loved film for entertainment purposes, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, stuff like that.
Something that often gets ignored is that cinema going is an inherently familial and community-driven art form, and that is reflected by the experiences that many have had.
Ever since I was a kid, my parents would always show me films, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then one day I was off school sick actually, and then I was watching Irishman because I had nothing to do, and that's when I fully decided that I was passionate about films, and I just kept watching more, showing my parents more, and then they kept showing me like classics from when they were younger, and then I just decided that I wanted to be in the industry.
So my uncle's in the industry, and I used to make short films with him, and he used to show me a lot of classic films, and from there I just really wanted to start making short films.
Movies can mean so much to us, and I think that when we can identify that in someone else, it only builds a stronger connection with them.
Okay, my number one favourite movie of all time, Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it's rad. It's so cool.
Some of my favourite films are Raiders of the Lost Ark,
All the Harry Potters and Star Wars, which I grew up with.
The Empire Strikes Back,
Star Wars, A New Hope.
Number 2, Man of Steel, another Zack Snyder film, because guess what? I love Superman, I love Zack Snyder, and I love DC. Oh man, it's so good.
The Bad and the Ugly.
Probably Clerks. It's classic. It's not. No one watches it except for me, but I consider it to be a classic.
And Street Fighter the movie, bitch!
My dream job is to be a director and a script writer. I've always loved telling stories, and I just want to put them to screen.
For me, more than any other aspects of filmmaking, writing is what's interesting to me. And for me personally, that's what I get the most enjoyment out of doing. I like writing my own scripts, and I hope to do that in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in stunt coordinating and stunts in films.
Anything that requires me to actually know things is bad, but when I can just sort of make it up as I go along, it's good. So like, I'd probably say directing. You get to be creative without having to be smart, which is good for me. Yeah, directing's cool.
A little over a year, 2 lockdowns and a circuit break later, things are actually starting to look more hopeful. Though many venues are still closing their doors, many are reopening and thriving, with several new releases hitting consistent highs not seen since before the pandemic. It finally seems like cinemas may be back for good, and after the horrendous year that we have all suffered through, I think that it is something that we can all appreciate for what is cinema if not an escape into a different world. And in these times that we live in, that's something that we need more than ever.
What got me into liking movies was the fact that I didn't really have anything else to do because I didn't like have a ton of friends or anything. So I like movies where it was a different reality, where I don't know, I could have like warmth and comfort.